Okay, we're gonna do a real quick video on setting up your MC284 flow rate monitor, capacity monitor for your Multipure drinking water system. This same monitor can be used with any of our stainless steel below sink systems. So the Aqua Mini, Aqua Versa, or Aqua Perform will all work equally well with this monitor. So this is everything that you get in the box. You get the capacity monitor itself, which is basically two pieces, the electronics and the flow sensor. It comes kind of pre-attached to this mounting bracket that you can use. Has some instructions, a length of, I don't know, about 14 to 16 inches of 1/4 inch plastic tubing, 2 1/4 inch thread by 1/4 inch tubing connectors, and some mounting tape for the back of that bracket if you want to mount that bracket to the side of your cabinet. So let's start with setting up the monitor and getting it all programmed. So you do need to provide your own AA batteries, and they go in here on the side. There's a little battery unit here. So you plug in your brand new AA batteries, and as soon as you plug in the second battery, you're going to get a tone. There, you heard that. You'll also hear that tone once the monitor hits its capacity. So you stuff it back in there, put the cover back on, and this is the display you're gonna see, 000. Now, to set the capacity, very simple. All you need to do is push the display button, which is the big button on top, push that and hold it, and hold the reset button underneath it just real quick, and the monitor starts blinking off, which means it's ready to set. So now when it's blinking like that, you just push the display button once, and it goes up in increments of 100 gallons. So we're gonna program this for an Aqua Perform, which is 600 gallons. So once you hit 600 gallons, you wait for about 10 or 15 seconds, and it'll stop blinking here in a moment. And once it does that, now we're all set. So it has two different display modes. Right now, it shows you the flow rate mode, which is GM, gallons per minute. You simply push display, and it toggles back and forth between the capacity, which we just set at 600 gallons, and the flow rate. So if we had this connected to water and water was flowing through it, you would see how fast the water is flowing on that display. So now it's all programmed. Now, this monitor counts backwards. So when the first gallon goes through, it'll go down to 599, then 598, and so on and so forth. Once you hit about 30 gallons, the monitor is going to start beeping at you, that beep that we heard earlier in the video, and that'll tell you, hey, take a look down here under the sink. It's time to call Multipure and order a replacement filter cartridge. So once you get that cartridge and you get it set up in the system and you want to reprogram this, first of all, we recommend changing out the batteries. We recommend changing the batteries every time you change the filter cartridge, just to make sure that your flow monitor, your capacity monitor is working. And to reset it, say it got down to 10 gallons and you decide, well, okay, that was enough, we're gonna change it. You just go through the same procedure. You hold the top display button and then just tap reset, and it'll go back into the mode to set the capacity. Off, 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 and now we start all over again. 100, 200, 300, 400, so on. Now with the Aqua Mini with a capacity of 250 gallons and an Aqua Versa with a capacity of 750 gallons, because this only operates in increments of 100 gallons, you're either going to program the Aqua Versa at 700 gallons or 800 gallons. It's up to you. 800 gallons is probably good enough. We know that the filter capacity is going to be sufficient to get up there. But if you want to be cautious about it and replace the cartridge at 700 gallons, that's fine. Same with the Aqua Mini. If you want to set it at 200 or 300, that's entirely up to you. It just gives you a rough idea of where you are. Okay, now that we are all set up with programming the monitor, you'll notice that we've got these instructions here. You're welcome to use them. We found them to be a little bit confusing, so that's why we're making this video instead of just relying on the paper instructions. But they're not incorrect. They are correct. They're just kind of a little bit hard to follow. So let's talk about setting it up and actually installing it with the system. So I have a top of a AquaPerform or an AquaVersa right here. Start with mounting the capacity monitor. Like I said, you can put it on the side of a cabinet wall using this double-sided tape to hold it on there. There's also some screw holes that you can mount it into a cabinet wall with some screws, so you can do that if you'd like. So once you get it mounted there, then you need to actually connect the plumbing. Now before you do this, what I'm going to recommend is that you actually, and we've got a faucet here to mock up here, what I recommend is that you actually flush the filter before you install the capacity monitor. And same when you're replacing the filter cartridge, we recommend that you flush that filter cartridge with the capacity monitor disconnected, because some of the carbon particles that come out of a brand new filter, they might impede the mechanism that's inside here. And so it's just best to play it safe with that. So we'll just go ahead and imagine that we've flushed the filter cartridge. So we're going to turn everything off, disconnect the tubing here from the faucet, and we will connect the fittings on the flow sensor. Okay, so the flow sensor comes pre-wrapped with Teflon tape, and then you go ahead and thread on the fittings here. I'm just hand tightening them here, but you can put a wrench on it and tighten it up a little bit more. You don't want to get too tight though. This is plastic on plastic, and it is possible to over tighten that and crack the fitting or crack the housing. So you just want to be careful of that. So once you have both those fittings on there, you want to take note, there is a molded arrow in the flow sensor here. Hopefully you can see that in the video. And that is in the direction of water flow. So in the case of this video, from where you're watching, it's left to right. So you just want to be aware of that. So once you have that set in the right direction, this extra piece of tubing that we provided, that is for connecting the outlet of the housing to the inlet of the flow sensor, and then out of the flow sensor to the faucet tubing. And now you're ready to go. You turn on flow, you turn on the flow of the faucet, and what you'll see is this will be counting down, the capacity monitor will be counting down, or if you have it in the flow rate mode, it'll show you how quickly water is flowing through. And that's how you set and install your capacity monitor.